steps to start a business with Miss Soledad Tanner, an outstanding international consultant with award winner and global financial business consultant with more than 30 years of experience. Before we proceed, I would like to take a special announcement. One lucky student in attendance has the opportunity to win a free 1-hour complimentary consultation from our speaker. The student must sign in and remain present until the end of the presentation in order to claim your prize. As well, we would also like to encourage everybody in attendance to have their cameras on and to turn off their mics and to stay until the end of the presentation to have an opportunity to win a prize. The success of this workshop is your active participation. With all that said, I would like to direct your attention to Miss Soledad Tanner. Let's give her a warm Palomino welcome.
One second. Can you hear me now? That's much better, right? Without the mute. Hello, everyone. So good to be here with all of you. Let me just get the screen. I think that's good, right? Can you see it? And then we start. Tell me if that looks good.
Yes, it does, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time being here today, and I appreciate your interest on really what it takes to start your business. So let's just start from the beginning. Let me tell you a little bit about me. I am originally from Ecuador, and I'm an immigrant. I came to the U.S. 26 years ago, and with a dream to have my education in the U.S. 30 years forward, I decided to open my business, and I am the founder and CEO of STC Consulting. I have a bachelor's in business administration from la Universidad Católica de Ecuador, a master's in international business from the University of St. Thomas in Houston, Texas, and a certificate of organizational leadership from the University of Rice here in Houston too. And I have received during the time of the business a couple of awards, especially as Women on the Move and Women in Finance and Women in Entrepreneurship. And I serve the community as board members to nonprofit organizations. And I also use part of my time to do a lot of mentorship, especially to University of St. Thomas and University of Houston downtown. So very busy life, but I love to do these, and I hope you really have your pen and pencil ready to take notes and prepare your questions and take advantage of this knowledge. As I said, STC Consulting is a financial management consulting firm, and we offer services for businesses and corporations, such as CFO on demand, controller on demand, financial speaking, financial management, financial coaching and training, and business consulting. So now let's go straight into the topic. You have had a dream to start a business, and it's in your head, it's going there, but really, what are the steps that it takes to go from a dream to a reality? So let's talk about them. I'm gonna list them here, and then we're gonna go over in detail each one of them, okay? So the first one is you need to conduct a market research. Second, write your business plan. Third, fund your business. You need some money to start your business. Number 4, pick up your business location, where you're gonna place it, and the market that you're gonna be serving. Choose a business structure. So what kind of legal formation you will give it. Then you need to choose your business name. That's very important. It needs to be catchy, needs to be unique. You need to register your business, get all the federal and state requirements, such as a tax ID, apply for any licenses and permits that your business require, and obviously open your business bank account. And we need to talk about bookkeeping and taxes. So that's what we're going to be talking in general in this class. That's a lot of information. So let's break it down one by one. Start writing your notes and prepare your questions at the end. So let's start with step number 1. So you have an idea, you have a dream, you see a product, you see a service. So what is the number 1 step that you need to take? You need to do some market research, some kind of research You need to know if your idea, your product, it's something that the market needs. Can you turn that idea into a business? Or is something that really you don't see that it can be scalable? And when you start creating this concept in your head, is ask you a couple of basic questions. Who is your potential customer? This is very important because are you selling it to college students? Are you selling your product to fathers? Are you selling it to kids? Are you selling it for people 65 and older? Is it just for males? It's just for females? So depending of who your product and service is for, then it's how you need to design the whole strategy. Is this for business owners? Is this for a stay-at-home mom or dad, etc.? So ask yourself and start thinking, who will buy your product? Therefore, who is your potential customer? Number two, very, very important, who is your competition? A lot of time when I have clients talking about potential businesses, they tell me there is no competition. There is always a competition. Maybe it's not exactly how you think your company will look like, but somebody in the market is satisfying the need of current businesses. So if your first reaction is, no, I have no competition, think again. Think again, if today you will have a need, where would you go to satisfy that need? Even if your idea is more advanced, more technology oriented, it's a little different. Somebody's selling it to the market right now. Number three, this is probably the most important one. What is your competitive advantage and what is your value added? So why is your product and service unique? Why would you buy your own product? How would you make the difference in the life of your client? So let's just say fast food. What is the value added? Well, the value added is if you don't have time to cook or prepare a meal, then you very quickly can go and get your food in a drive-through restaurant, right? If excuse me, if you're thinking to open a daycare center, for example, what is the value added proposition for that? Well, the value added is that parents, mom and dad, will be able to go to work and leave their kids in a place that they will be taken care of and protected. So it's very important. So think in terms of what will the person win or earn or get back if you provide this product to the market. Second, you have to write a business plan. Now, here's where I get people saying, well, I don't have time to write a business plan. I don't know anything of a business plan. I want you to think, if you're driving from Laredo to Houston to come and visit me, and you think you know how to get here, yeah, you do. But what do you do as soon as you get in the car? You put your GPS on, so you know exactly how long will it take you, what are the best roads. And a business plan works to me like a GPS. It tells you keeps you en route. It tells you exactly what is that you're trying to accomplish and how to do it. It's really like a roadmap. So it tells you about the structure and what are you trying to accomplish. So in this next part, I'm going to very briefly go over the elements of a business plan. That will be a conversation for another day. But when I mention the word business plan, I want you to at least have an idea, what is that? What are the elements or the parts of a business plan? First, business plans can be documents that can have 50 pages, 100 pages. But for this purpose, I think it's important to write a one-page business plan, a simple one. As you're getting your ideas, you see how I selected this picture for the sticky notes? That's exactly how I did it when I started my business. I used the sticky notes and put it on the wall, and I said, what is who is the client? No, what is the product? And as ideas keep flowing in your head, you can keep adding them here, right? So let's talk about the executive summary. The executive summary is something that if you give this one-page document to me, in the executive summary, I know exactly what you are trying to accomplish, what kind of product and services you are trying to produce or sell, and who is your market, and what is the value added proposition. So as the title said, it's a summary of your whole idea. So if always the test is, if you give this to somebody else that doesn't know anything about your business, and they only have time to read the executive summary, they will know exactly what you're trying to do and accomplish reading just that paragraph. The second one, you need to research a little bit about market opportunity and analysis. So what is the market? Who is buying these? So the market in the US, things are very specific, and there's a lot of product for niche things. So here is where you go to the library, the university, you look at the census, you look at the statistics, and you look at how big is your market. Let's take an example. Let's say you're producing welding supplies for, like, let's say the welding hoods that are used for the welders. So if you want to get into that market, you will want to know, how many welders are in the US, how many welders are in Laredo, how many schools of welding are around, how many students do you have? So you have an idea what the market is. Then you need to figure out your sales and marketing plan. So let's continue with this welding hood idea that, let's say we go into the market for that. So how are you going to sell it? And how are you going to market it? So this is important, because are you going to have a front store that you're going to be there and people will walk and buy it? Or are you going to make partnerships with schools? So when they register a new student, then they can buy from you directly. Are you going to do it just online shopping? Are you going to go only in Texas or in Laredo or in the whole US or even overseas? So it's important that you reflect on who is going to buy it and how you're going to sell the product. A marketing plan, obviously, you need to know how you're going to market the product. How will I know that your product is available in the market? And how will I find you? And obviously, that includes a social media strategy. Because remember, not all platforms are good for everyone. So depending on who you are marketing to, maybe you are in TikTok, but maybe you are in LinkedIn, because it's a more formal product, right? So you need to decide which is your marketing platform better suits your product, and what kind of marketing plans you have so you can achieve the level of sales that you need. Number 4, obviously, you need to talk about the product and service. How do you envision that the product will be? So in this case of a welding hood, so are you going to offer just one type, multiple types, different colors, different combinations? And if you offer a service, let's talk about the daycare center that I used the example earlier. So if you were to open a daycare center, which is so needed in the US at this time because of parents working from home, so how do you imagine that will look like? What ages are you going to take care? How many people are you going to have? What hours are you going to offer? What will be your packages? What price would you have if you have 1, 2, or 3 kids? Would you do after hours activities? So all of that is the description of your product and services. So if I go to your daycare center and I said, I am interested in your services, you pull this summary and I say, okay, these are our services, these are our prices, and these are the different combinations of things that you can do. So this is the time when you describe in the business plan how your product and services are going to look like. Then you have to do, or at least mention or research about the competition. Who is your competition? How many daycare centers are in Laredo, if we continue with this, or in Texas, or in Houston? What do they offer? So how do they look like? What are their prices? So this is important, because if your competition is offering something that you are not, you need to see how will that affect you. Maybe people will not want you to buy your product because it's too basic, or maybe there are customers that are looking for this basic service. So the same with products. Maybe you need to check and see sampling around with families and friends and see if your product gets some real interest and get some real feedback and constructive criticism from your friends and say, I really don't like that. It's too expensive, or you know what, I love it, but it seems to be too cheap. So it's important to see, and you compare that product with what others are doing. So go on and kind of shop for your same product around and see what will the price be if you were buying this for somebody else. Point number 6, this is one of my favorites because this is the number point. You need to figure out all your key financial information. What does this mean? You need to know, well, how much money do I need to start the business? And this is what a lot of people really go very fast over this and underestimate the expenses. And there are real expenses to open a business. So I think, again, I suggest you open a folder or a computer or an Excel spreadsheet or whatever you are comfortable with, and start thinking, okay, what will I need to start the business? So let's say you want to start from virtually. Still, you need to open your company, you need to get a domain, you need to have a website. So start listing the things that you believe you will need. And next to it, start listing the prices of them. And some of them can wait for a second phase, but some of them are you really need it now to start the business. For example, you're at least going to need a mobile phone, a laptop, and to start your business, you need to register. So all of those are part of your initial setup costs. And some of the other things, maybe desks and office space and things like that, can go later. So start deciding what is setup cost and what is run cost. And also, I highly recommend you sit down. You can call me and we can do it, and start thinking of what is the budget, what I'm looking for. How much do I think I can sell the first year? How many units will I sell? What month will I sell those units? And also, and very, very important, what are the expenses? And what month I will have what expenses. So I will have internet, I will have insurance, I will have water, electricity, fuel, meals, marketing, a lot of expenses. And will I sell enough to cover them? Or will I need to have a loan to have some working capital so I can sustain this company? So spend some time thinking about your numbers, thinking about the profit, thinking about the sales, when you're going to sell, how many units you're going to sell. And I will almost guarantee you that if you spend some time really thinking about putting the numbers, you will feel well more comfortable as you walk into your company. Number 7, people requirements and operations. So I have this great idea. Let's go back with the daycare center. And how many people I'm going to need to run the daycare center? So let's say I want to have 100 kids. So how many kids per teacher, depending on the age? So here you need to write down what are the people requirements, how many key teachers you're going to need per class, how many people you're going to need in the office, how many people you're going to need outside, which is your external supporting team, and kind of put some estimated numbers of how much do you think that will cost you, right? And then you will need a lawyer, probably, you will need a CPA, you will need a consultant, you will need a bookkeeper, you will need probably an IT person if you go bigger, right? Sometimes when you see the numbers, you decide that you are going to start smaller. And then who is going to run the business? So let's go back to the other example of the welding hoods, right? So who is going to be ordering the supplies? Who's going to be doing the purchasing? Who's going to be doing the selling? Who is going to be in the shop cutting the leather and assembling the hoods? So all of these, think about, write it down. That way you start getting like kind of an org chart of how your company is going to look like. And overall, point number 8. So what will your key metrics be or your milestones? Let's say here, you say, well, I think the first year I can sell 100 hoods. Okay, that will be your milestone. And then that means that if let's say you have 10 months from here to the end of the year, let's just say, that means that you have to sell 100 hoods every day. That will be your metrics. Are you getting to your metrics month 1, month 2? And if not, what can you do so you can get to your decided milestone? It's important here that you include also profitability, making sure that your working capital and your profit are in line and you're not going a long time without, and then to realize that you're not making enough money to cover your costs. So these are the 8 elements of a business plan. When we do a one-page business plan, it's really a simple, just so you think of each one of them. Some businesses that are bigger and you are required to go to the bank and ask for a loan, you require a full-blown business plan, then it's more of a detailed work. But for a start, it's a small business, you can start with a simple one page. So let's talk now about point number 3. You need to fund your business. Where is the money going to come from, right? So is it going to come from your savings, your credit card, your family and friends? That's why it's so important to know how much would you need, not only to start the business, but to run it. Start is one thing, but then as you continue to grow, you have to run it and you have to have enough money to cover for employees' expenses, for rent, etc. Do you have the funds in the bank? When can you go for the funds? Do you have an account in the bank? Do you have a credit union? How is your credit? We had another session here last month about credit and the importance of credit as you start your business. The better your credit, the lower ratio, the lower your risk, therefore the lower your interest rate. So that's why it's so important that all of you really watch for your credit score, handle your credit carefully. Don't get into any debt that you cannot pay, because that will affect your credit score, and your credit score is going to affect the interest rate that you pay, not only when you go and buy your car, but if you want to open a business, then your business also will see the influence of a good or bad credit score. If you need to borrow the money, oh well, who's going to give you the money, and how? If you need to go to the bank, for sure you need to present the bank and explain the bank your idea. Imagine yourself walking into the bank and that you are an employee of the bank, and I walk into the bank and I say, hey, hi, I need you to give me $50,000. Well, the person on the other side needs to know, what are you going to do with the money? Why do you want the money? And they need to make sure that your business will generate enough money to pay, not only pay you, but pay them back and pay the interest. And so you need to be able to articulate the whole concept of your business before you walk into the bank. So you look and you sound like you know what you're talking about, and then you will not only look confident, but your numbers will reflect that you have done the work that deserve that they give you the money. And you have to identify the business location and the market. So who is, again, we talk about it, who is going to buy your product? Where is your business going to be located? Are you renting an office? Are you buying a building? Are you launching an online store? Where are the employees going to work? Remotely, from home, a combination of both? So give it some thought about your business location, market, and the way that you're going to operate. These days, we're all working, still some of us from home, still some of us from part-time from home and office. So it's important that you give it a thought, okay? Number 5, this is key. You need to choose a business structure. If you want to have a business, it needs to be a formal structure. The legal structure of your business will impact your taxes and your personal liability. This is a key thing to remember. Different legal structures are taxed in different ways. This is why it's so important that you talk to your CPA or your lawyer, not to your neighbor, not to your friend that suggests which company is better for you, which structure is better for you, because you have to have both division of the taxes and the personal liability. You don't want to find yourself, let's say something goes wrong and there's a lawsuit against your company, and then because you didn't protect you correctly, then in the court, they can take away your personal belongings. So you need to make sure that you know your liability and you know the level of risk that you're willing to take. And also in some cases, the profit can be taxed as a pass-through and has a lower tax bracket than a corporation. So please spend some time thinking about it and considering the pros and the cons. And here is when it's worth it to get a professional to help you evaluate that. Now, it's important that you choose your business name because everybody's going to know your name by the business. So, but you need to make sure it can be a super catchy, incredibly beautiful name. But if it's not, if there's another business with the same name in the state of Texas, you will not be granted permission to use it. So if you want to call your name, I don't know, IBM or Google, you're not going to be allowed to use because somebody else is using that name, right? So number 1, select a couple of names, make sure they are available to be used, which means that nobody else have that name in the state, so you can use it. And that you can Google the Texas Secretary of State, and then you can, there's a place where you can check business name availability. You type the name that you're thinking, and it will tell you if it's available or not. Once you have passed that test, you go to the second test. You go to GoDaddy or anything like that, or any company like that that sell domains, and you make sure the domain is available. So let's say you want to call your business Ariana Grande, just to say something, and then you go to GoDaddy. Obviously, you're not going to be able to buy, well, I say that, I don't know, a website that is called www Ariana Grande, because more likely it has been purchased. And if you want to buy it, well, I don't think it's for sale, but if you wanted to buy it, it probably costs millions of dollars. And so it's important that both things are aligned, and that you sometimes mixing a little bit the words, you find a combination that is reasonable for you. It's still catchy, reflects your business, and it's within your budget, right? So you will need a domain for your website. So the domain is the name of the website. At least if you're thinking that you want a business in the future and you have an idea, go and buy the domain now. And I always recommend people to buy their names as a domain, sometimes for $5 or so. So you can have it in case in the future you decide to open your business in your own name. In addition to choosing your name, you need to register your business. That means that you're officially the state of Texas, we're all in the state of Texas, know that you are operating. So you need to register with the Texas Controller of Public Accounts, and the certificate of formation, it comes from the Office of the Texas Secretary of State. So that's your document that you're legally formed and legally to operate in the state of Texas. So once you create an account, and this can be done by, we do this, we help people create their companies. And also you need a tax ID. So you have now the legal structure, right? And now as people have social security numbers, as people have IT numbers, companies have something called employee identification numbers, or employee identification numbers, which is the number that is linked to your company in the tax return, in your bank account, and everything that your company does, it has that number linked to that. So you as an individual have a social security number, your company has the employee identification number, and you're going to need it when you ask for loans, when you apply for grants. Now, where last year with all the PPPs and all the federal help for COVID, it's many companies that did not have the proper documentation, they couldn't apply. So that number is issued by the IRS, and it's the number that when you prepare, when your CPA prepare your taxes, then the taxes go linked to that number. Number 9 is once you have the formation of your company and your tax ID together, with those documents, you can walk into any bank of your preference and you say, Mr. Bank, I want to open a business bank account and I want a credit card. This is a critical step because many people continue to handle their businesses with their personal personal bank accounts. So imagine you have your personal expenses and your business expenses in the same bank account. How do you think you're going to be able to separate your personal and business for taxes purposes? And also, how do you think you're going to make sure you will know if your business is making money if you have everything in one salad, right? It's not possible. So you must, as soon as you get your documents and your employee identification number, you must go into the bank and open any bank and open a business bank account and also obtain a business credit card. So you are not charging to your personal credit card your business expenses. And also, very, very important, you start building your business credit. Like a person has a credit score, the business also has a credit score. So don't waste years up front without building a credit score, which takes time, when you can do it since the very beginning. This is a no-no. Do not mix personal and business, please. And number 10 is please set up a basic bookkeeping system. The best knowns are Intuit, QuickBooks Online, FreshBook, Wave, Xero, Sage, and there's a lot more in the market. If you don't like accounting, hire a bookkeeper, hire an accountant, hire a CPA. But when people ask me, what is the best way that I can pay less taxes? I always suggest is having an organized bookkeeping, record-keeping system allows you not only to pay what is right for you in the taxes, but also allows you to manage your company. So every month, every time, every quarter, you can have a financial review and say, hey, how is the company doing? Are we selling what we thought we were going to sell? Are we having the right level of profit that we thought we were going to have? If you don't have a bookkeeping system, I'm telling you, it's like getting in your car and you're covering your eyes. You're going to be driving blind because you think you're making profit. You feel that you're making profit. You hope that you're making profit. None of those verbs apply. You have to know that you're making profit. And you have to get your reports where you see exactly where you're at every step of the way. That is one of the best recommendations I can give you now. So as you continue to mature your idea and create your product and services, then you are also financially successful along the way. And having said that, dream big, but start small. But the most important thing of all is to start. You will not have all the answers the very first day. You will not have a perfect product the first day. You will not have a perfect service the first day. I'm telling you because I went through that. And that's the truth about everyone. Everyone started from probably their dining room table or the garage. And little by little, their businesses became better and more mature. And you analyze, adjust, and redo it again and redo it again. So just like Steve Jobs said, the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who really change it. So keep in mind that financial knowledge gives you freedom. So don't forget that you need to know your numbers all along, all step of the way. So that concludes my presentation. And the next one that we're going to have is we're going to be talking about cash flow and how the cash flow needs to be managed so you have a great company and you can manage the highs and the lows. That will be October 21st at 2 p.m. So if you like what you learned today and you think you're going along the line of a business, it's key for your success to learn how to handle your cash flow. So I highly encourage that you register for October 21st at 2 p.m. And let's see. And here is, if you want to contact me, my website is there, www.soledadtanner.com, and you can follow me in my social media. With that, I open the floor to everyone for questions. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your attention and your time. And I hope this presentation was beneficial for you and you found a couple of points that can apply to your dream of opening a business. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Tanner. Right now, at the moment, we can take any questions that our audience have. You can put them in the chat box, and the Office of Student Life staff will ask them for you, people.
Ms. Tanner. Oh, go, Carol.
I have a question. For getting a federal and state tax ID, is it like any charge or anything, or is it free?
Yeah, I haven't done one lately, but I think it's free. You just go to the IRS. Is that Cara? That's what you yeah, I see you. Yes, you can go to the IRS website and go how to obtain an employee identification number, and then I would give you the steps.
Hello, Ms. Tanner. This is a question for myself. I've always had this question that has bothered me since I was young, since a lot of my family is mechanics, baking and such, but they don't work for it. But they still do offer, oh, you want a cake for your birthday? Yeah, I'll charge you $50. I'll do it for you and such. Would that still be considered a business or non-profitable business and such?
So that's the $1 million questions. Is it, do you have a hobby or a business, right? So a hobby is something that you do for fun, that you're good at, and it really is an additional to your regular income, right? Like if, let's say I work Monday through Friday in an office, and on the weekend I love baking, right? Or whatever the business is. And if I make some money, great. Or I'm exploring before opening my business. So a hobby can be profitable too. The difference is that you are not formalizing it in a way. And you know that if you're selling one cake per weekend, let's just say one cake per weekend, that's really a hobby. But because you have your true income coming from the other side, and you don't want to have a website, you don't want to register the business, you just do it from home and you sell it to, the neighbors. that's really a hobby. A business is something that you dedicate your time, you formalize it, and let's say you do, I don't know, 10 cakes per week, and you have an accounting system, you have your website, you have all the structure that requires. Did I answer a question?
Yes. So my another adding to the other question.
Yeah, go ahead.
If the hobby starts being more profitable,
Profitable.
like instead of selling 1 cake per week, I'm selling 20. I'm doing this. It's increasing, but I don't formalize it. Would it be a crime, or would it still be viewed as a hobby?
Okay, so every income. Okay, let me answer in a different. Any income. Okay, don't shoot the messenger here. Any income that we receive from tips from any source needs to be in your income tax declaration. And so if you receive income for cakes, in theory, it should be part of, if you get a W-2 and a 1099 and you get paid cash for the cakes that you sold to the neighbors and family, the fact that you got paid cash doesn't exempt you from declaring. You could say, I received $1,500 on cakes in cash and put it on your income tax. That's what the law says. So here, if you are growing and you think, oh, not you, but the person is growing, I suggest you could do, and you have the intention to continue to do it, I suggest to formalize it.
Thank you very much, ma'am. We also have a few questions in the chat. Would any of my colleagues would like to go first?
Ms. Tanner,
Yes.
does it cost money to get an EIN for a business?
I am almost positive it doesn't. I think you just go to the IRS website and you just apply for one. But if it does, it's very small. I don't remember right now on the top of my head, but I don't think so.
Okay, another question. So is there a web link where you can find the availability of your business names?
GoDaddy.
GoDaddy?
Oh.
Oh, okay.
And you go GoDaddy website available, and then you have it.
Okay, I have a third one. For income tax purposes, do you have to do 2 income taxes, personal and business?
Yes.
If you have an LLC?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
So the business, if in the case you have an LLC, it's called Schedule 1040, and it will have like a P&L, so it will be like a profit and loss. It will say sales, expenses, blah, 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 profit. And if you have an LLC, you have here your personal, and then you have here your business, and the business has a profit, right?
Yes.
And the profit, it passes through, it's a pass-through to your personal. That way, the profit of your business pays a lower tax bracket than if you were a corporation. That's one of the benefits of the LLC.
Okay, well, if you have like a full-time job but want to open your business, would you recommend opening it little by little or like giving your full time to your business?
It depends. It depends. So, okay, here we need to talk. That's a short question with a long answer. So here we need to talk about, let's say I work full-time in a company. I'm getting X amount of money. Before we need to revise, we need to check your personal finance. So we're going to swim into your numbers. And I said, okay, I will suggest to start with how much I'm making. What is my budget for my personal expenses? So let's just say I make $1,000 just to make it easy, right? And let's say my personal expenses are $700, so I have $300 left. Let's just say for now. And then we need to figure out, do we have an emergency fund? Do we have a savings account, right? Well, I do. Okay, great. How long do you have it for? 6 months. Phenomenal. Let's just say. Do you have any credit card debt? Yes, I do. I owe $10,000. So I stop here because if you have personal debt, and in order to start your business, you are going to also incur into additional debt. We need to think, how is this going to work? And what happens if you leave your corporate job or your office? How are you going to pay for your food, your rent, your gas, your family expenses? So here, it depends of each particular situation. Then it can be like, okay, I'm going to live with my parents. I have no kids, I have no credit card debt. I have $5,000 here. So it depends of where your personal situation, your income situation, your profession, how fast you can get another job if where you are, and also what kind of business you want to open. But the easy answer I want to tell you is the answer, it depends of if at least you have your personal finance in order. It's easy to make that decision because you only have one front to worry because this one is taken care of.
So then, is it possible to have more than one business? And if so, would the processes be the same?
I didn't hear the second part. Is
it possible to have more than one business? And if so, are the processes the same?
Yes. So of course, it's possible to have more than one business, but you really need to be great with time management, great with delegation skills, who is going to be doing what, great with finance. You need to make sure that business A provides a good profit, and then you have the reports, and then you have the target, and everything is running here. And then you have these other, that's another front. So I don't suggest, if this is the first time, you open both of them at the same time, because then you open one and you learn. You always learn, right? Something that you can do better. And then what do I need? What kind of system do I like? Are the people working correctly? Is the product working correctly? Is it profitable? And maybe with the profit of the first one, I go and open the second one. So I am more conservative in that aspect. Make sure that one is solid, my personal finance is solid, my first business is solid, and then I move on.
There's another question.
I have a question.
Go
There's
ahead.
a question in the chat. When making your business, how long does it take to start seeing profit?
Another $1 million question. When is your break-even point? Well, it depends. It really depends. So if you want to, let me think of a business. Well, normally you don't see profit immediately because you have spent money in the startup cost, right? So let's say you start your business, you need an office, you need desk, you need computers, you need marketing, you need money for the website. So depending on the business that you're doing and the size of the business that you do it, let's say it could take, and the level of profit that you're making per product and the amount of units that you're selling, could tell you, it could take you 6 months, a year, 2 years to see. But maybe not. Maybe you don't need infrastructure. Maybe you don't need equipment. Maybe you don't need anything. And after the 3rd month, you start seeing profit because all you did is open a website. So it depends of every business, but it's very important to make a break-even point analysis. That's the technical name of that, is when I will be able to have enough sales to cover all the expenses, and only after that point is where I start seeing profit. And it depends of each business.
So then, talking about market, there's a market for every level of income. And well, how do you recognize what level of income / market can we serve?
I didn't understand the question. One more time.
Talking about market, there's market for every level of income, etc. Right? So how do we recognize what level of income slash market can we serve?
Well, so let's say you are, I understand. Every product has a market niche, and you need to make sure that, let's think about shoes, right? There are shoes that are $30, shoes that are $50, shoes that are $100, and shoes that are $500, right? So when you have your product and each pricing, this is how, the question really is how to get the pricing right, or how to serve the right market with the pricing and product that I have. So the best way is to have your product and sample with the market and see if I want to serve a college team, group. I cannot be going with an overpriced, the $500 shoes. That's crazy. That market will not buy that. And the same with cars, like cars is a perfect example. We have cars that cost $3,000 and we have cars that cost $100,000 and everything in between. So you need to see what your client or potential customer is paying currently, and that way you can match the product, the price, and the market.
Ma'am, one question for me. Oh, wait, it just went away. Hold on. Okay.
Can I ask one?
Yeah, go ahead.
So then, being about the market, like since social media is such a popular thing, do you recommend like somebody starting a website, or not so much, or it just depends?
It depends. Sorry, I'm chewing medicine because I was without voice yesterday. So it depends of your product. I have clients that have huge companies, no websites, because they have built their website they have built their businesses just based on somebody knowing somebody and recommending somebody. In general, I would say that a website gives you credibility. So at least you need to have a basic website. And you don't have to spend a lot of money. You can start with a template type website. There are some that are $20 a month. You don't have to go to a full-blown website since the very beginning. But you definitely don't have to be in all social medias, for sure. Some of the people I have seen that social media is such a big word, and they spend too much effort being in every social media without thinking really, who is my client? Where is my client? What kind of social media is my client working with? Is it Instagram? Then Instagram. Spend your money and your time in that platform.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Hello.
Yes.
I have a question, ma'am. What are some of the issues that are most common when starting your first business, other than funding?
Not knowing your product, not knowing really well what you're going to do, who are you going to serve, and what is the value proposition that you're offering to the client. You can sell a t-shirt, right? You can sell a t-shirt. And there are millions of t-shirt producing companies. Why would you start another t-shirt company? And that's number one, not knowing why. Maybe there's no one in your neighborhood, then you know, okay, great. But you need to not so much fall in love with this idea, fall in love knowing there's a market for it, there's a need for it, people will buy it, etc. And the second big mistake is not looking at the numbers, thinking, oh, I'm gonna need like $10,000, I'm gonna sell and I will make money. make it so simple. I'm not saying making it complicated, but really, truly sit down for a moment and write some numbers and really think, can I sell 100,000 t-shirts in a month? No, I can't. Not today. So maybe I start with 1,000 t-shirts. Maybe I just start with 10 t-shirts, but put some numbers behind. I would say those are the main ones.
So
I have a kind of random question. What is a CPA?
Elizabeth?
Yes, I have a kind of random question. What is a CPA?
A certified public accountant is somebody who is an accountant by profession, but in addition to that, it sits in a really grueling test that is like 14 hours and is certified by the state of Texas. And they can sign an audit, income tax, financial statements. And they're truly experts on taxes, and they're continuously have to study more every year and continue to be updated in the Texas in the taxes rules.
Ms.
Oh,
Tanner,
okay, thank you.
Ms. Tanner, so then you knowing like a lot about business and like, of course, like the struggle coming through it, what kept you motivated into like continuing into it? Because this is like a hard skill to get, and honestly, to see you this successful with it, I'm impressed.
I love doing this. I love doing this. You know what? As a child, I lost my father when I was around 20, and my mother, it was really hard for her to find a job in other countries that it's just difficult, and she needed to open a business, and she was really didn't know much about how to do it, and I at that time I was in college like you guys now, and I was studying business, and I remember just sitting down with her and explaining her, like sales, cost of sales, and that made a difference. And I thought when I grow up, right, one day I will be guiding as many people as I can, so nobody has to go through the process with pain. And hopefully I can be of a light to people to illuminate your journey. So at least you will have questions, but at least some of the questions can be answered. And I also think knowing about finance and handling your finance and being aware of your numbers is the key to success. One of the keys, we don't talk too much about money, and we need to normalize the conversation about money. So we can sit in the dining room table as a family and talk about the money, talk about the budget, talk about the goal. Then all of us will be successful, and our families and community. So what keeps me motivated, the opportunity to reach to you and all of you. So you can also, now that you start your life here soon, open your business, you are as successful as you are determined to be.
Thank you, Ms. Tanner. Now I just remember my question. Okay, so my question is, what step would you consider that a business is successful? When it makes half more than the required money to keep the business going, or even a bit more to be considered a successful business or a business still in works?
So what level of profit, I think, let me see if I understand your question. What level of profit a company should have in order that you consider it successful?
In a way, like it takes me $1,000 to run the business daily. So for if I make $2,000 in profit, I already made half of what I need then to run the business. That would be deemed as successful or not?
Got it. It depends on the industry. Okay. So each industry has the average profit margin. So let's say, like you said, something that costs you 1,000, you sell it at 2,000, you make double, right? maybe that's nothing in the industry of cars because they make 5 times, but maybe that's a lot in the baking business. So depending on the industry that you belong to, the profit will be different. So at least you have to cover your costs, obviously, and then when you cover your cost, you're at 0. And then the profit comes after that. So you need, in order not to give you unrealistic goals, you need to research what is the average, the range, and the average profit from the industry that you are trying to be part of.
Wait, so then following like to help with anything, do you know like any type of resources, grants, or scholarships that like students can apply for to have like any type of push just to go more towards this topic?
Grants and loans for students that want, well, they want to start businesses. That's your question, Jonathan, right? Okay,
Yes.
no, I know, write this down. There's something called SBA, a Small Business Administration, that it's part of the government and it's really good. I have used them. I have talked to them here in Houston, and they are the organization that which goal is to help small businesses. And when you go there, they offer complimentary coaching. They help you with your business plan. They help you prepare for funding, which means that they put the whole package together. You can use their services, and then or you can use a private person who, like consultants. I do that also. And then they help you identifying what kind of grants and loans are available to you depending on who are you. There are some for African Americans, some for Latinos, some for Asian Americans, some for females, some for male, some for STEM. So depending on the industry that you're looking and depending on your product, you can access different ones. So check for SBA, check for SCORE, SCORE. And I would say those are the beginning. Then you have the private banking that also offer loans, but I will start with those two.
Well, then the topic of to start a business in Texas, is it essential to have a register with each agent or not?
It's preferred. Yes.
Oh.
It's preferred. Let me tell you something. Last year, many people couldn't access grants given by the government because they did not technically exist. You have to technically exist. If I have a baking business in my garage, physically I exist, but the state doesn't know about me because I'm like in the dark doing that. But if you're registered, then you even get the emails now from Harris County here in Houston and the government saying, how your business doing? Do you need help? Because you do exist. Those are the benefits of being regulated.
Okay, well then like what do you call like a business? Because like I could sell like lemonade and put like an investment buying lemons and then getting a profit of selling the lemonade. Is that considered a business? Or if I were to do something online, as in like purchase shirts from China, have them to Amazon, then Amazon specifically sends them to the people who ordered the shirts as an example, is that considered a business? And what would I need to like have that legit compared to like a business starting as opening up a shop?
Earlier in the presentation, we talked about having a hobby and having a business, remember? And we used the example of the baking from the kitchen to sell the cakes. So if I have a lemonade stand and once in the summer, just to continue the example, right? That's really kind of do it one time, informal, and it's to help the community. That's a hobby. But if you want to have, if you want to have the benefits of being a business, really the route is to formalize your business. So we can, try to split it and look at different angles. I'm a numbers person, so either yes or no, right? Either you are or you aren't, right? So you can be in a great zone trying to play both sides, but if you want to have a business and be recognized by the community, formalize your business and work really hard at it and really smart at it, and you will be successful.
Okay, well then like kind of like the lemonade stand also. Do you think handmade gets more or less buying than like reselling products?
I one more time. Say that again.
So like more in the idea of like a lemonade stand. Do you think like handmade, like in general, any type of products gets more or less than buying and reselling products?
It depends. Remember, the market desire now, it's going back to all natural and less chemicals. And I think also this last year and a half that we have kind of stay at home, and health has become an issue, a big issue, right? And a lot of people have gone back to exercise, eat healthy. We were kind of forced to stay at home, so many people start, their own gardens, and now we could only be outdoors. So nature became it's important. I will say there's a market for both, but handmade, no chemicals, good for you, healthy eating, healthy cooking, healthy life. It's something relevant these days.
Then you being like a businesswoman, okay, I love the idea of networking. And to me, networking is so cool. Do you recommend it as much as possible?
I recommend to network with intention. Networking for networking. So there's personal networking and professional networking, right? So personal networking, let's say I love exercising, right? And I love biking. So I have a group, we on the weekend, we go to, from Houston to Austin in the bike, and those are my biking friends. That's networking, exercising, and networking for personal reasons. But during the week, if you have a business, you have to network with intention. So I will say, what is the product and services? What are the products and services that I produce or sell? And who is my buyer? Who wants my product? So if my buyer is construction companies, then I would like to go to the networking event of construction people in the state of Texas, because I go to this event. Who do you think I'm going to be meeting? Construction CEOs. And then I will say, hey, I'm Soledad, I do this. I would like to offer my service. So when you network, you have to network with intention. Do not go to all events, because it's a waste of your time. You dilute yourself, and then you're going to be sad, asking yourself, second guess yourself, why didn't you get any customers? So if I want to get construction companies, why will I go to an association of education, right? So it can be a great network. I can go if I want, if I think it's going to be a great networking event, and they're going to have great music, but I need to go there knowing that I'm going to the wrong place to get the business that I want.
One question for me as well. When is a small business not considered a small business anymore? Like when I heard, I think Eduardo's, I don't know. Never mind. I'm gonna say Elizabeth's Restaurants. I forgot the name of the restaurant. It's a local Laredo restaurant, but they have multiple establishments all over Laredo. Would that still be considered a small business if it's only one city, or is it a franchise already, a big franchise?
It depends on the number of employees they have. There's a small business, what's the word? There's a small business description. If you go to the SBA, website, it says that a small business is a business that has less than 500 employees. So me coming from Ecuador, that's a multinational, like, but in the USA, a small business is any enterprise that has less than 500.
And after you lose, that's actually a way bigger number than what I expected. Okay, so after you surpass the small business stance, do legal appointments, legal responsibilities start becoming an issue?
As well, I would say as you grow, let's say you have one employee, there are things, 50 is a key number, okay? If you have from 1 to 49 employees, you have a level of responsibilities with offering health insurance, 401ks, benefits, right? After you pass the 49 to 50 and to 500, there are certain things that you have to offer you must offer to your employees. So there's a switch of you're bigger now. So you have to offer, other things. So I would say 49 to 50, it's the change where you have more responsibilities. You have to provide more.
All righty. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ms. Tanner. Would anyone else want to ask any other questions before we conclude?
I do. Hold on.
Who's that? Hi. Okay, Jonathan.
Okay, so like I have I'm getting money. So say I have a few
Oh,
$100
great.
and I put it to the side, right? And I want to make more profit out of it. How do you recommend I do that? Because I have people oh, you should invest, which I don't want to do. I kind of want to start investing into a business per se.
Okay.
What do you recommend I do? Do I just continue saving and spend it on something that I like, or put it somewhere else that'll help me passively?
Well, I like the question and congratulations, because at the very beginning, I like that you're questioning what people are telling you. People would tell you what the best that they know, hopefully, but sometimes the best that they know is not good enough. So questioning what you're hearing is the step. It's a great step for the future. So I'm gonna answer you the question different. If instead of asking me, I have this money, what do I do? Let's talk about what would you like to do if you have all the money that you have. Because I couldn't be, I couldn't create a hospital because I don't know how to operate. I'm not a doctor, right? I couldn't have a business we really can have any business. We can learn any trade. But today, I'm saying with this level of skills that I have today, I couldn't have a baking business because I cannot bake to save my life, right? So I will say, I will start with an inventory, Jonathan, of what you are good at. What you are good at. And if you are not sure, ask your mom, ask your brothers, ask the family, because there's always something that each child did that it was different than everybody else. So remember, there can be your youngest brother can be the expert. He was always building something, right? There's other brother who is always destroying something. There's other brother who is always singing, and the other was always dancing, and the always was I was instead of playing with everybody like everybody else, I was working with puzzles. So my mind, I didn't know that until later. I didn't think any of that. It's and my mind works like puzzles. So they put the pieces together. So I would suggest has an inventory of what you're good at, go down to the last 2 or 3, and then based on what you're good at and you enjoy doing, think, what can I do with this to make it better and makes me happy, right?
I was gonna ask that earlier. So then, is it true that if you're really good at something, don't do it for free?
Well, if it's a hobby,
It's
and
a saying.
if you want to do it for a nonprofit organization to help the community, yes. If it's a business and it's taking you time and money to study, learn, practice, mature, why would you do it for free? See, all of this had taken me 30 years to learn. I wasn't born with all this knowledge. I learned and I enrolled in another class and I had the student loans and I like all of you, you know, and I went to a work and I made a mistake and I learned from that mistake and I asked again. So all of that has a price. And all of that, of course, for your mom, you know, each one of us will decide for whom. But I would say for your mother, your father, your siblings, you know, you do things, your closer group, and you can do it for free. But listen, if you have a friend who has a food truck and you go and buy a taco, are you expecting it to get it for free? No. And as a matter of fact, let me tell you the opposite. If I have a friend and I go to support her business, I'm going to buy, not only pay, but buy to go and buy for others, because I am being the friend who is supporting, because I know how difficult it is to start. It will be terrible that I show up at my friend's food truck expecting to get it for free. You are there to support. So if you wouldn't do it to your food truck friend, nobody should do it to you.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Thank you very much, Ms. Tanner, for your presentation. So before we conclude the presentation, do y'all remember that 1 hour free complimentary consultation with Ms. Tanner? So the spin the wheel event's about to start. Before we begin to spin the wheel to see who's the lucky student, I would like to remember that everybody must be present here in the presentation, must be present in order to win the prize, as well as to have their cameras on so we know that you didn't just leave. So without further ado, Ms. Barra, please take it away.
I like it.
Congratulations, Lisa. Lisa, are you here at the moment? Can you please turn on your camera? Or leave a message in the chat box if you can.
She isn't.
She's not in the chat?
Nope, we're gonna go to the next one.
So what would you like to do, Ms. Turner? Would you like to spin the wheel again, or would you like to contact?
I think the rules were that the person needed to be ready, present.
Yes, we gotta spin the wheel again.
Yes.
Beatriz Flores, race.
Marlene Villanueva. Marlene, are you here right now?
Tampoco. We're going again.
Hey, where's my name?
Who is this?
Juan Benavides.
Well, the winner seems to be Paulina Escobedo. Paulina, are you here in the audience?
No, she isn't, and my bad.
Are you sure?
Well, you have to be students.
Wanted to say that one of our work study, Serena is not on the wheel.
Is Javier Gutierrez in the audience? Did they all leave? What's going on? Reisel Virales, are you here?
I don't think those names are from the students present. I could be wrong.
Ma'am, those names that are on there, Miss Tanner, they're not I don't think.
What says here?
Hold on. You think that there are no other names?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't recognize the names on the wheel with the names of the students in the presentation.
My name wasn't on there either.
Are y'all students?
Absolutely.
Did y'all sign in? Because we would have had.
I registered. Yeah, I registered.
But did y'all sign in into the link that they sent, the attendance link?
I believe so, yeah.
The link to sign in, it's in the chat box if y'all have access to it.
But anyways, Jose Gonzalez won.
Is Jose Gonzalez here?
Jose Gonzalez is in the meet.
Yeah, I'm here.
Joey.
Oh,
Can you hear me or
well,
not?
well, congratulations, Jose. You're the one who wins the 1 hour complimentary session with Miss Tanner.
Ora.
Okay.
Then Juan, you have to come up with the next one. Juan Benavides.
Mande usted.
La próxima te vienes y te registras.
Okay, ya está.
Ya está.
I
ok.
have your email if I need to talk to you about business.
Super.
Thank you, Ms. Tanner. You were
Thank
awesome.
My pleasure. My
Thank you much.
pleasure. I sincerely hope. And now that I'm finished, I need to confess that I had no voice yesterday. And
Oh, you sound great.
and I have pumped a lot of medicine. So I'm very happy that you stay, and I hope that you learn, and I hope that your business goals and dreams become reality. And if you need any help, follow me on social media. You know where to find me. I'm just a click away. Okay.